John and Ken Show. John Cobelt, Ken Shampoo. Tax Revolt 2011 heads on a stick. More Schwarzenegger news to come.
Yes, that's right. We'll give you all the details. Although many of you know by now, it's one of the top stories in the world these days. But the identity, of course, of Schwarzenegger's mistress, the baby mama.
I keep looking at these unpleasant photos of her at TMZ.
And the ones from like the 90s aren't a lot better.
No, they're actually worse. I mean, after dyeing her hair and I guess getting some surgery done, to my eyes, she looks better. But I mean, Jesus, what is it like to have that kind of
libido?
Yeah. I mean, what is it? I mean, you
know.
must be in a constant state of alert. Jeez. It's exhausting.
We've been telling you for a long time that middle-class citizen taxpayers have been evacuating the state of California over the last decade or so. It's a breathtaking number. Now, it takes a columnist like Dan Walters for the Sacramento Bee to express it this way. A quarter of a century ago, I wrote a series of articles about California's megatrends that led to a book, The New California, Facing the 21st Century. My chief premise was that intertwining cultural, demographic, economic, and political forces were radically transforming the state. We read it here on the show as middle-class citizens leaving, illegal aliens coming in.
That's right. Illegal alien stampede, white people heading for the exits.
I quoted one academic study that, quote, saw the possible emerging of a two-tier economy with Asians and non-Hispanic whites competing for high-status positions while Hispanics and blacks struggled to get low-paying service jobs.
Well, Hispanics,
but what do you know? He says that last week's release of the detailed 2010 census data seems to confirm that this is becoming a reality.
There was a story mentioned on Monday that 700,000 middle-class whites had fled the state in recent years, replaced almost entirely by poor Hispanics. Yeah, mostly illegal aliens.
Right.
So
the media just calls them immigrants.
No, but when you lose hundreds of thousands of white middle-class people and they take their educations and their experience and their skills to some other state and it's replaced by peasant people with little education and no skills, is that good or bad for a state? Do you think that makes the economy stronger or weaker? What do you think?
So some research council did a study, and they developed a 1 through 10 index of well-being and applied it to communities and to ethnic, gender, and geographic subgroups. And they came up with 5 distinct groups in California. At the top, 1% of Californians live in what they call Shangri-Las, in and around Silicon Valley and portions of Southern California, the west side of Schwarzenegger area. With an index of 9...
It's a real Shangri-La these days at his house.
9.35 out of 10 to tell you just how well off, but that's 1%. Mm-hmm. Then there's 18% who live in what they call the Metro Coastal Enclave, with a well-being of 7.82. All right, so together that's 19% of the state.
They're doing pretty well.
We're down to 38% who might be described as middle-class, Main Street, California. They got the index of 5.91, which isn't great. But then we have 38% in a group called Struggling California with a 4.17 index. And as I mentioned before the break, the forsaken 5% in central L.A. and the rural areas who have a well-being index of a whopping 2.59.
If you add these numbers up, you have 43% of the state either struggling or forsaken.
Correct.
And largely,
and that's
those are immigrants.
That's why the state is like two Californias.
All right. And low-paid, low-educated immigrants cannot contribute meaningful tax money. They cannot. It's impossible. They make too little. They buy too little. Their properties they own, if they own anything, are small. So now you have 43%. It's really close to dead weight here.
Well,
in terms of this is why whenever you hear one of these morons say, well, no, actually, illegal aliens strengthen the economy. No, they don't. Because what they do is they bring the peasant lifestyle here, and they bring their foreign language here. They throw their kids into the public schools, and they clog up the traffic, and they clog up the hospitals, and it makes middle-class people with skills and education want to get out.
So what happens is the wealthy people who still enjoy California for its many advantages, including the climate and lifestyle, stay. And they hire these people to do all their tasks. But John's right. That's not going to lead to any economic growth for that lower tier who's doing the car wash thing, the housekeeping thing, the lawn thing, the busboy thing, you name it thing, for the group that can stay.
Yeah.
But the middle class people, some of which had those jobs before, are gone.
For example, the median earnings for a Silicon Valley resident, $73,000. East LA, $15,000. Who do you think's paying the taxes there? $73,000 means you have a college education, means you have skills. In Silicon Valley, technology skills. $15,000, no skills, no education. Who do you think is the taxpayer? That would be the person in Silicon Valley. Who is the tax taker? That would be the person in East Los Angeles. And now we have millions and millions and millions of these newly discovered tax takers, while the taxpayers are fleeing. By the hundreds of thousands they're fleeing.
Decades of hand-wringing and political correctness. This is what you reap. You get what you reap. While only about 7% of white adults lack high school diplomas, it's 45% of Latino adults in the L.A. metropolitan area.
How about that?
More than half of public school students come from families in poverty. Half. And just 100 of the state's 2,500 high schools produce nearly half of its dropouts.
Right. That's Los Angeles.
That is.
That's why when we talk about the Los Angeles Teachers Union and all their nutty demands and their high salaries, they are producing most of the dropouts in the state. Because their parents don't have high school diplomas. Nobody cares about education in these families, in these neighborhoods. They don't care about learning English. They don't care about getting a diploma and doing well. It'll just be another generation of people making $15,000 doing the crap work.
All right, we got a lot to come.
By the way,
Tax Revolt 2011 continues, yes?
Did you notice which demographic lives the longest?
The Asian American women?
Asian American women. Life expectancy, 88 and a half years.
Well, they eat healthy.
I have never seen anything like that. 88 and a half years? You can't